Okay, awesome. So we're live both on YouTube and Facebook. Like I was saying, we are going to be discussing fasting, and is fasting an opportunity for us to basically eat whatever we want? If you are new here, welcome. Please take a second to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and that like button on Facebook. There's notifications in each one of those places. On YouTube, you can find it through that little bell-shaped icon. That way you'll know when we are going live or uploading new content to either platform. My name is Diane, and for the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutritional plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. And here in this community, we are doing that through the practice of intermittent fasting and living a keto-like lifestyle. Do me a favor in the comments section and leave a little comment or a little maybe emoji or whatever if you feel like fasting has allowed you the opportunity to eat whatever you want and still get the results that you are hoping or looking for. I know this is one of those things that not so much in this community, because we all have been working through the process of really trying to figure out what makes us look and feel our best while living our most authentic life. But in a lot of other fasting groups or diet groups or even keto type environments, and even a lot of the information on the internet in general, specifically YouTube, there is a lot of misconception that doing one thing will allow you to do whatever it is you want in another aspect of your life and be able to get the results that you want. And I know that's where I personally was really frustrated when I was researching intermittent fasting and really trying to find that sweet spot, so to speak, of making some of the decisions about what I was doing in my fasting window and determining what I could do in my feasting window for me to get the end result that I wanted, which was looking and feeling my best while still living some sort of authenticity in my life, not feeling like I was constantly deprived. And here is the stone cold truth. If you are in maybe your 20s or your 30s, and you haven't started noticing some of the effects of the aging process, and remember the aging process is really when we start to go through some of these metabolic changes and or hormone adjustments that just happen through the course of time. That is really what aging means. If you're not really suffering from any of those things or noticing some of the changes and not really liking them, then I would say, yeah, you could probably do whatever you want in your feasting window. But we always have to factor in the last part of that equation, and that is, what goals are you trying to achieve? So for me, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was a group fitness instructor. I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married. I was super busy. I was running all the time. I could eat pretty much whatever I wanted, and I could, quote unquote, exercise bad decisions away. When I was really serious about making some physical, like aesthetic changes to my body, I had to curb a little bit of what I was doing in my feasting window. Not necessarily consciously fasting, but I've never been a big breakfast person, and I was always really nutrition conscious because I was a group fitness instructor. And so that was the philosophy that I lived by and what I really taught others to live by as well. And if I wanted to like cinch things down for the summer, or, was feeling a little, poofy or thick in a pair of jeans, I could just dial back on my nutrition or amp up my exercise, and I could make it a significant change. Well, what happens when we go through these metabolic changes or these hormonal changes as we go through the aging process is our body is a little less forgiving. So when we fast, it does create an amazing opportunity for us to really balance some things out in our body systems, and it does allow us the opportunity to self-correct in some areas. And for me personally, I've shared here a lot that for me, that was hormonally, that was really getting my body out of that insulin resistant state. So where my cells were just so backed up, they couldn't process the way they needed to process anymore. I had to deplete all of that out of my system. I had to get some of that fogginess out of my brain. And so fasting did allow me that opportunity, but I also had to be really careful about what I was doing in my feasting window, because there were a lot of foods that were just automatically triggering a hormonal imbalance. So I had to be very aware and very tuned in to the signs and signal that my body was sending me, so that I could fine tune my feasting so that it didn't completely negate what I was doing in my fasting window. Then there were some times where I played around with that, and I tested the system, and I tested the waters, and I added in some extra things. And just like in my 20s and 30s, when I got loose with what it was I was doing in my feasting window, I noticed that my body was also becoming very relaxed in what it was doing. And so yes, the fasting opportunity allows me to stay metabolically healthy. It allows me to stay in that position where my glucose is in a good state, where I'm processing sugars well, where I can get in that depleted state and get into that fat burning opportunity. But I still can negate that in my feasting window, or send my hormones into a complete downward spiral, or have a gluten reaction, or have a dairy reaction, or just have a I'm eating way too many carbs reaction, and I can start to fluff back up. So we can, in a sense, be a little bit more forgiving with our feasting if we're exercising a really consistent fasting opportunity over time. But the reality is, we should never, ever put ourselves in a position where we can eat whatever it is we want. Because the reality is, if I could eat whatever I want, trust me, I would be eating Krispy Kreme donuts all day and drinking a really good glass of wine. But that's not going to take me where I want to go with the goals I have for my life, or the goals I have for my body, or the goals I have for my fitness. So we have to really think about the third part of that equation. Am I fasting in the opportunity window to really allow my body the opportunity to self-correct and heal? Then, am I making wise choices in my feasting window that will get me to the goals that I want to have for not only my body, but how I want to look? Because if you eat some foods that are going to make you fluffy, the first place it shows up in your face, you got the poofy face and the baggy eyes and you're swelling up, you won't be happy with the results. So we have to really start implementing some common sense with the whatever I want. And the whatever I want really should be tied into how you want to look and feel, with that factor of living authentically. So I look and feel my best when I am on a higher fat, moderate to low protein, and a very conscious carbohydrate diet. And when I factor in too many bags of avocado chips, and I factor in too many even siete chips with some cashew queso dip, that is not the food that I'm going to ultimately get to the result that I want with the goals that I have for my life and my body. I may be healthy, but I may not look and feel my best, because yes, those are the better bads, but there's not a whole lot of room in our consistent daily routine over time that will give us that wiggle room to have the better bads in more often than not. They should always be those things that we allow to be authentic, but don't make the norm. And I gotta tell you, the one thing that really just makes me tense up and just have this burning feeling in my gut is when I have women coming to me and saying, oh my gosh, but I'm fasting. I should be able to eat whatever I want. I don't understand why I'm not getting the results that I want. I fasted, I should be able to have wine every night, or I fasted, I should be able to do this, or I should have that cake, or I should do this. And you're putting in too many of those things that are the better bads that you can have on occasion. But if you really want to slim your body down and get rid of that excess hormonal body fat, and you want to lose that extra 10 pounds that you've picked up over the past decade because your hormones were changing, you have to eat in the same way that other people who look that way are eating. And you're not going to find any fitness professional or fashion model or professional athlete or Olympian or physique type of person that you're probably looking at and going, wow, they fast and they look like they're eating whatever they want to eat. They're not. You have to have that common sense approach of what is the best form of nutrition that I can put into my body to make the end result that I'm looking for happen. And it's always going to default to nutrient dense food. The fun food is that thing that you make exception for, but it cannot be that I can eat whatever I want mentality and I don't understand why I'm not getting the results as XYZ person that I see on the internet. Trust me, they're not doing that on a daily basis. They are factoring that in and then they're making some compromises down the line. You can also never completely mirror what someone else is doing. You cannot take your mind off of what your body is telling you that it needs to operate at its best. You cannot eat like I do. You cannot exercise like I do. And I cannot mirror what you are doing. It is very personal and it's very individualized based on your routine, your lifestyle, your metabolism, your genetics, all of those things. So, does fasting help you get to that end result? Absolutely. Will fasting allow you the opportunity to put in those better bads where you're not going to feel the effects so suddenly or so drastically? Absolutely. But nothing will ever negate good common sense, nutrient dense food, a really solid fasting routine, and a feasting window that accommodates what you are asking for from your body. Please do not go after someone who's posting a picture on the internet and talking about how they just lost 100 pounds following XYZ diet and ask them to tell you every single thing that they've done. It will not work for you. I promise you, it will not work for you. And I know that because I used to teach those types of lifestyles. I used to say, here's a meal plan. Follow this for XYZ days. Don't deter from it. Do this type of exercise. And by the end, you're magically going to get the same exact results as everybody else. And we know now that that does not work. You have to factor in what your body's chemistry needs based on your lifestyle. And I know for a lot of you who are following me on social media, you're following me on Instagram, or you're following me on Facebook, and you see my updates about my workouts, and you see my updates about what I'm eating, do not assume that you have the whole picture. I work out and I share what I'm doing in my workout, and I try to teach as much as I can with the philosophies that I'm doing in my workouts, but it's never the whole picture. I have a very sedentary life. Outside of my 30 to 60 minutes of workout, I sit around and talk on a camera or do a lot of computer work, and I don't have a very active lifestyle. So my feasting window is scheduled around how active I am throughout my day. You cannot duplicate what I'm doing unless you're living my exact life. So keep that in mind when you are watching other people or seeing other people's success stories and you panic and you think that if you do exactly what they do or you eat exactly the way they eat, that you're going to have the same success or the same results. You will never, ever get the full picture. And you will never, ever be able to duplicate what someone else is doing because your body is going to have a completely different response to that. I always ask in this community that you guys stay very mindful and very conscious about what it is you're doing throughout your day, what it is that you're feeling, how it is that you are responding to what it is you're doing in your fasting window. And there are some people who are getting amazing results by drinking butter coffee every day or bulletproof coffee every day. And then there's other women that are not. It is something that completely backfires on them. You have to learn how to test out some systems, test out some tricks, and then figure out what it is that you want to have for your life before you start thinking that you can deserve or earn having those better bad foods more often than not. It will most likely backfire on you. You have to always defer to common sense nutrition, and here we call that nutrient dense foods. It takes a little while to figure out how your body is going to respond to certain things. I talked about how I don't do gluten, I don't do dairy very often. I've had to research which dairy backfires on me, which dairy doesn't backfire on me. And we've researched what soy is doing for us hormonally, how it takes us out of balance. And we've talked about how we manage our carbohydrates. And I really do want you guys to figure that out for yourself. And the best way to do that is just start with fasting long and clean, and then really managing that feasting window. And as you become more mature, you can add in those what I wants, maybe a little bit more often. But I guarantee you, as soon as you start feeling sluggish, or as soon as you start feeling bloated, or as soon as you start feeling poofy, it's the foods that you want that you're diving into probably a little bit more consistently than the foods that your body needs. And it really is the difference between what your body needs to function at its best and what you want to have in your life to make your life more fun. There should be a nice balance, but the wants are going to be that thing that's going to always keep you from your goals. And then don't panic. Don't panic and desperately seek out what someone else is doing and try to mirror it. It doesn't work that way. You have to do the work for yourself. For those of you who have been in our course, you know that this process works because you've done the work and you've gone through this process of figuring out what foods work for you and what foods don't. And you've been able to vacation with your family. You've been able to step away from fasting for a while and jump right back in. There is an emotional component to this process as well. And this really is what we try to focus on here in this community, and more specifically and more personally in the course that we teach intermittent fasting for today's aging woman. So if you haven't joined in that course yet and you're still frustrated with, but I'm fasting and I don't know why I can't eat what I want to eat, we really do dial it down there and give you the opportunity to go through some of these tests and trials and errors and really hone in on what foods are going to work best for you, and help you figure out when you can add in those wants and how frequently you can do that without it backfiring on you, and how to read nutritional labels so you can find the better bads to stick into that fun aspect of what we like to do in our feasting window. We do have a course starting Friday, so make sure you click on that registration link if you haven't been through one of our courses before. It is a really quick process, 3 weeks, and you will have all of this drilled down and figured out so that you can start really figuring out how food is supposed to work for you, and stop feeling like food and this whole nutrition and diet lifestyle is working against you. Let me see who we have joining us. My goodness, I see my girl Yvonne is here today. Amy, hello. Kara, Melissa, hello. Amy from Oregon. Cheryl's here. Jeanette, hello. Shirley, it's been a while, but I'm still going strong after 4 months of IS. Fantastic, Shirley. So happy to have you with us. Kim is here. Yvonne, nope, still must eat healthy, a little more wiggle room, but no. Yeah, exactly. You know, and like, I think I said this on Monday too, you know, my husband's really good about very delicately reminding me, you know, like, what I think he said it, like, you're just one bag of avocado oil chips away from having the body that you know, you dream of having. And yeah, you know, we look at things as healthy. We read the fancy marketing words, you know, no trans fats, and we look at the, you know, gluten-free potato chips or whatever, and we think it's healthy because it says gluten-free, and potatoes don't have gluten anyway. And we get tricked. We get emotionally tied into the healthy marketing, and we have to make sure that we factor in that common sense as much as we can. I can be a very overweight, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free woman, eating really healthy cookies and candy bars and chips, and I know all of them. I know all the super healthy stuff, but it's extra. And we want to make sure that we're getting in the required first. And then if there's some room, you always have that play room for the extra. But trust me, extra is always going to be extra. No matter if it's marketed to you as healthy, or it's or it has all the good ingredients that you're looking for. If it's extra, it's extra. And we want to make sure that we're always referring back to that common sense aspect of that. And Yvonne, it's so good to see you, girlfriend. Haven't seen you in forever. Let's see, Teresa. No, I don't think I can eat what I want in my feasting window. I have to be very intentional about what I eat. Too many grain type carbs set me back. Fats keep me satiated. Yeah, that's true. And you know, it's funny. I've shared this with you guys before too. Even a stevia in my coffee causes me to crave more carbs later that evening. So I have to go straight black coffee. if I had that sort of sweet sensation in coffee, it triggers that sweet sensation for the whole rest of my day. And so you have to figure out what those triggers are for you too. Like, what is that sweet trigger? What do too many carbs end up doing to you over a period of time? And really start figuring out where you can put some boundaries on some things and put some limitations on some things, so that when you do decide to add in that wiggle room, you're not going to send yourself over the top with it. Sneaking on watching from work. Ooh, thanks for sneaking on with this. You probably won't tell anybody. Liesel, hello. Gina, I still need to watch what I eat as I'm still in the healing phase. I break my fast with green juice, which has made such a positive impact on how I feel. Awesome. Yeah, and if that's working for you, I say that's fantastic. For sure. Sherry, choices equals results. That is absolutely true. And I think sometimes, like I said, we get caught up in the marketing aspect of things. We get caught up in the fancy words, and we think because it's labeled as healthy, that it's going to make us have the body of our dreams or make us feel, fantastic. And oftentimes it is just the process of our body's chemistry not being able to break that down. And that's really where we have to figure things out. And there's a difference even between sugar alcohols in different types of foods as well, where some sugar alcohols are going to affect you in one way, and another sugar alcohol is going to affect you in a different way. And you've got to play around and figure those things out as well. Let's see, Kristen, awesome talk. Thank you, Diane. Oh, you're so welcome. And Cindy, your mantra, always do you. Yep, for sure. For sure. Okay, so Michael, we got YouTube up over there. We're going to see who's on YouTube with us. Let's see. Jacqueline, that isn't the intent. Sometimes it just happens, but I go right back to cleaner foods the next day. Yeah, you could do that too, for sure. Melissa, hello. And something happens too when you get your body to that point where it's really functioning well on good nutrition, is you'll add in a little fun food or a better bad, and you'll immediately feel the negative aspect or feeling of that in your body chemically. And then the next time you're presented with that, you'll look at it and go, nope, I don't even want to feel that way. And I can tell you right now, we got 2 big old bags of candy in that kitchen of ours that we're going to be handing out to these poor trick-or-treaters tonight. It always makes me feel guilty to do that. And I look at that candy and I go, oh, I can't even imagine how bad that would make me feel if I ate some of that. So make sure, for those of you who are in trick-or-treating Bill tonight, don't succumb to that kid's candy. It will knock you off your feet and you will feel absolutely horrible. And try to associate that feeling that you can anticipate before you even go down that fun size snack candy bar route tonight. Denise from Ontario, welcome. Lynette, what do you think about these keto drinks they are selling and helps you in ketosis? Well, Michael and I are representatives of one of those companies, and I think anything that you use supplement-wise, if you use it correctly, can yield some pretty amazing results, or advertised results, I guess would be the best way to go. But again, not everyone's body processes those things in the same way, and you have to make sure that you fully understand the dynamic of them and the chemical reaction it has in your body and what your end result wants to be. So it takes a big understanding of what they are and how you want to use them and the end result that you want to get. It's not a quick fix. It's not a magic pill. And you want to make sure that you understand that before you become committed to some of those things. But Michael and I believe in them, and we use them for what we have going on with the goals for ourselves. B from California. Hello, Yolanda. Is it okay to take supplements when fasting? It all depends. So it's called dirty fasting if you take supplements during industry-wise. It's called dirty fasting, and it all just depends on what you're putting in your body and if you'll be able to exercise that away or fast that away. And if you're not, then you're basically, what I say, you're not eating, but you're what is it called? How do I say that? You're not fasting, you're just not eating, kind of thing. So once you take something and you put it in your body, you cease your fast. So you have to make sure you understand how to get yourself back into that fasted environment when you're using something like supplementation in your fasting window. We teach all that in the F3 course. For those of you who have been through our first course. Rosalind, I think I am not making the wiser choices in my feasting window. Yeah, probably. If you're fasting clean and you're fasting long and you're not seeing results, it's usually what you're doing in your feasting window. If you're fasting correctly and you're not seeing results, it's always what you're doing in your feasting window, without a doubt. Jennifer, I'm having trouble with getting in enough fat without higher protein as well. Eat pure fat. So olives are great. Oils are great. What else? Avocados are great. So you don't necessarily have to eat fatty meats or animal proteins to get a good fat. Just add lots of oil on everything. And I completely douse salads and vegetables and all those kind of things with oil. So that's a really great way to up your fat. Lynette, you're so right. Not everyone has the same body type or hormonal imbalance. Yeah, for sure. You have to go through the tests and go through the process of it. And I come from a military background where you kind of get broken down and built back up. And I think that's the same with nutrition as well. I think you have to break yourself down to the bare minimums and then slowly start building yourself back up and reintroducing some things. That's also called like a what do you call it, like a detox type of thing, or when you're trying to figure out intolerances or food sensitivities, you take everything out and then you slowly start reintroducing those, and that's the best way to figure your own body chemistry out as well. Danny from October class, you're awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for this information and having passion to share it with us. Yeah, you're welcome. I absolutely love it. Tina, hello. Michelle, love the idea of focusing on nutrient-dense food and watching the better bads. 72% dark chocolate. Trudy, I set my Fast Track app yesterday and made it to 18 hours today. That helps me then fasted on good nutrient-dense foods. Good for you. And you know, since Michelle, you added in that dark chocolate thing, like even for me, you know, the first thing for me in chocolate is there has to be no soy in it. And then I can't do any milk chocolate either because I don't do any dairy. And there's different versions of even really healthy chocolate bars that one sets off a complete sugar reaction to me, and then others that don't. So you have to make sure you understand what they're using to sweeten chocolate as well, even dark chocolate. Make sure you're understanding what's in that ingredients label, and make sure that the sugar alcohols in there are ones that aren't going to, you know, send you off into a deep sort of glycogen low. Basically, you're going to take that sugar dive. Denise, considering joining program, need help burning fat areas while keeping healthy. Yeah, Denise, jump on. We start this weekend. We would love to have you. It's super cool course. 3 weeks, you're in and out. Great community of women. I teach you everything I know about getting yourself into that first level of fasting and getting yourself fat adapted. Carrie St. Clair, I'm so missing donuts. Do you ever make any good keto sweets for breakfast? Okay, so I have a rule that if I'm going to do something like that, I'm just going to do what I love. And so that's that better or bad choice. And we love Krispy Kreme donuts. And when we eat Krispy Kreme donuts, we just eat Krispy Kreme donuts. And then we kind of just get it out of our system and we go about our merry way. So I try to stay away from a lot of those keto type foods. To me, they're sort of labeled just like everything else, you know, with the diet labeling world. And there's just times when if you're going to need to eat something, you just eat something. So, you know, Krispy Kreme donut, I've kind of satisfied what I need with that, and I move about my business. So, but if keto like diet or donuts are your thing, then I would say, yeah, you definitely just got to factor that in for when it fits for you, for sure. Gainer from Australia, hello, Jacqueline. However, when with slips, I add lean meats and healthy fats. With slips, I add lean meats and healthy fats. So you mean to get yourself back on track, I think is what you're trying to say. I'm still healing. I think the cravings are my fat cells fighting the changes. Yeah, now that happens too. Your body doesn't want to change as much as you want it to change, so it does fight you. And when you're going from a sugar burner to a fat burner, it's not a comfortable feeling, and your body will scream at you. That's why we say listen to the signs and signals. And you know, we have been trained as a society that when we have a headache, we eat. When we're tired, we eat. When we, you know, feel fatigued, we eat. When we feel sad, we eat. And sometimes you have to get through those feelings and not feed them so you can get to the other side. And when you get to the other side and you get into that fat adaptive state, that's when you know you've made it, you know, it's home free, and your body's not going to send you those pains anymore to try to signal you to go to what you're used to doing. Let's see, Gainer, why do I seem to have become more sensitive to certain foods? I get a crazy runny nose when I eat sometimes. The runny nose could just be sort of like an intolerance to something, like an allergic type of response, and you become more sensitive. Not that you are more sensitive, is that you're more attuned to the sensitivity. You're not masking it as something else. So the cleaner you get, the more in tune you get to the signs and signals that your body is sending you. And I always say that that's a great gift. So listen. Roz, thank you for the October course. Learned so much and amazed myself with how long I could fast, for which resulted in feeling so good. Feel liberated. Oh, awesome. Roz, that's the goal, is to have you leave the course feeling super empowered and super confident about what you're doing in your everyday life with your fasting and your feasting. So congratulations. You model student for sure. Trudy, Diane, is the November course the same as the one I took last year, or did it change? If you took the course in 2017, it changed a little bit, but reach out to us, Trudy, and Carol will get you set up with the correct link to get you in the course that you need for sure. Okay, and then the course registration is there for anyone who's interested in jumping in with this in November. We have structured it so it ends, I believe, like right around Thanksgiving time. So you'll have an opportunity to get in and out of fasting before you have to break for Thanksgiving if you're here in the US and you're celebrating Thanksgiving. Kristen, awesome talk. Thank you, Diane. Oh, you're welcome. I think I already read that one. Let's see if there's any more comments here on Facebook. So the underlying message today is, can you eat whatever you want when you're fasting? Not if you have very specific results that you're looking for, or very specific goals that you're trying to achieve. And it's not just because you're fasting. That's just the rule of life. Like, you cannot do whatever you want and maintain a certain level of financial success or business success or relationship success or nutritional and or physique success or health success. There are always going to be some factors that we have to build in that are common sense. So does fasting allow you an opportunity to loosen the reins a little bit without having adverse sort of responses from your body? Absolutely. But you have to get to that healed point first so that you notice those types of things. Michael and I vacation 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. And when we're on vacation, we always make the decisions that will result in us looking and feeling our best while we're living our most authentic life. There are just foods now that I can visually look at, I can see them, and I have an immediate emotional response to how I know I'm going to feel if I consume those foods. So my wants have changed considerably over the past couple of years to accommodate how I want to look and feel. So there are certain foods that just are not worth it to me anymore because I know now what the end results of consuming those foods will be. So there is some maturity that has to happen as well. I can't eat like a second grader and want to have a healthy, energized, happy 52-year-old body. You just can't do it. So you have to understand there's a maturity level that has to go with how you're eating, and it all has to circle around what it is that you want for your lifestyle and how you want to look and feel with whatever season of life that you are currently living in. Amy, I know that I feel my best with high fat, conscious carbs, and moderate protein. I fall off my plan sometimes, but I know that I feel so much better and see my results when I focus on my nutritional choices. My workouts are strong when I have a long fast and great nutrition. Amy, that sums it up perfectly. And that is true. And that's not just because we're fasting or just because we're in an aging woman type of category. That's true of everyone. That's true of our children, of our nieces and nephews, of our grandkids, of our grandparents, of our own parents. It's true of anyone. Nothing will ever, be better than good, solid nutrition. It's just that we have found a great opportunity in what we can do with fasting to really take advantage of what we want to have with our overall health and well-being. And that's really what we want to focus on. Rosemarie, graduate from the October course. Thank you. So simple. Who knew, right? Like, so simple. Just take a period of your day and do absolutely nothing but enjoy the energized sense of calm. Brain, emotional, physical shift, indeed. It gets easier and so empowering. Trial equals okay or never more. That's true, girlfriend. 20-hour fast unless working out that day. Always looking forward to my nutrition dense feast, on a mission to find more options. Yeah, and play around with some stuff, Rosemary, for sure. And you'll find plenty of options out there. Just stay clear of those lurky little marketing labels. One ingredient, nutrient dense foods mixed together to make your own creation is always the best way to go. Pauline, yes, that is exactly what is happening to me after 1 month. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are doing great. All my recent grads, I'm so proud of you. We just have our October course members graduate, and the ultimate goal that I have for anyone who's taken one of our courses is that you feel empowered and in control, and you feel like you finally have your body and nutrition and some of the things that have been kind of, tugging at you as not feeling right back under control. And we really do try to make sure that that happens within that 3-week period. So congratulations to all my recent graduates. I'm super, super proud of you. Carrie, I think it is. I stopped losing on keto at 30 pounds. What can I do to start losing more weight? If you're just doing keto and you haven't started fasting, I would highly recommend incorporating some fasting into that and see what that could do for you as well. It's probably a hormonal balance. Lorianne just got on. Good to be here. Lorianne, good to have you with us as well. Although a lot of times when you've hit a plateau, so to speak, with what it is you want to do with weight loss, it usually does come down to a hormonal thing. And so you have to just get your body back into that state of being able to feast off of itself. And if your body's not feasting off itself, which we call the fat adaptive state, or we also call the energized sense of calm, you're not going to lose weight. So it doesn't really even matter what we're doing in our feasting window so much. We want to make sure it's nutrient dense, but to break up a plateau, you got to dive deep into that sweet spot of fasting, and you've got to make sure that you're creating an opportunity for your body to feast off of itself. And that really does only happen when you're in those deep fasting opportunities, and we do that within 24 hours. And we have designated a sweet spot that we really do work toward in our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. So if you're feeling stuck or like you hit a plateau, I highly recommend jumping into the course as well. So I'm going to let you guys go. It's Halloween here. We're going to get ready to go pick up some kids from after school, get them dressed up in their Halloween costumes, and then have them go do some trick-or-treating tonight. Please stay out of the candy bowl. If you're one of my women who've been hanging around in this community, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's totally not worth it. Those little fun-sized candy bars will knock you off your feet for the next couple of days, and it's Wednesday already. So whatever you do today will usually set into your body by, I don't know, Friday or Saturday. And then if you're one of those people who loosens it up on the weekend, by this time next week, you will be miserable and very disappointed in the things that your body has kind of popping up on you and the energy that you will have sucked out of your life. So be disciplined tonight. Make sure that you're treating yourself the best way that you can, and don't let candy or those little treats be something that's more important than you looking and feeling your best so that you can live your most authentic life. Have a good afternoon, you guys. I'll see you on Friday over at IF Keto Family Life.